Surprise. I know you were expecting a Zoom today, but today I'll be walking around and helping all the kids in class kind of individually. And so I won't be doing Zoom today. So I'm going to go ahead and just work this out today with us. Obviously, today you will have to write this down on paper and turn in a picture. So this has been a really tough unit just because it's been split up. So one of the things I've been telling everybody is I'm going to be very generous. And part of what I'm going to be do, these first two questions are really bad examples of. And so, I mean, we're still going to talk about it, but you know, this is going to make it look like where it doesn't matter on either one of these what answer you choose, because of what I'm really focusing in on. We know that a lot of us struggle with these new rules. There haven't been a lot of time. There's been a lot of different things that have split up us working in this unit. So what we've said is that we really want you to at least focus in on our big numbers right here, our coefficients. And so if you will take care of the big numbers, then what I have said is even if it's wrong, then to help you guys out, if you get an answer that has the correct big numbers, then I'm going to count it right. Now, my boss is still going to see that you got it wrong, but just to kind of help us out, because this has been a really weird unit, at least I know that you can take care of these, okay? Well, the problem is that if you look at all the answers have the same, you know, 6 over 5, 6 over 5. Obviously, if I take 10 over 12 and put it in the calculator, I'm going to get 6 over 5. And so, you know, it's not going to do any good to really go through that right now. On the test, there's nothing where they're all the same. So that's not going to happen on the test. Usually it's going to be either, you know, one that's going to go directly to an answer. There's going to be 2 of them, so you get to at least get a 50-50. Or there's a possibility where there could be 3, but they're not going to have all 4. And both of these first ones, all 4 of the big numbers are all the same. So we still are going to talk about the proper way to do this so that if you can learn how to, you know, deal with these letters and their exponents, you know, that's awesome. But I just know that there hasn't been enough time. We've just had all these different breaks and stuff. It's just been a really hard unit just in terms of how it was presented. So we know that the big numbers, if you put them in the calculator, 12 over 10 becomes 6 over 5. So now, if you have letters on top and letters on bottom, we always subtract them. And so I have 1 M on top and 1 M on the bottom. Well, 1 M minus 1 M would give it 0 M. So all the M's are going to be gone right here. So if it has an M, I can go ahead and mark that answer off. Okay, so that's going to leave me down to these 2 answers right here. Both of these say N, 1 N and 4 P's. So the question is, they're going to be on top or the bottom. Now, I'm just going to take the P's at first because I just see those right there. Remember, we're subtracting. So 7 minus 3 is 4. Now, we knew that there were going to be 4 P's. The question is, are they going to go on top or the bottom? The answer is they always go where the most P's are, where there's 7 P's right here. There's only 3 up here. So right here is where the 4 P's are going to go after you subtract them. And so that means that there should be 4 P's on the bottom and the answer would be F. So definitely if you're struggling with knowing when to add or subtract, then yes, you can, you know, yeah, you may end up having to guess C. You know, we're definitely just going to take care of these. But hopefully if you can kind of figure this out, then, or maybe you already know it and we're just re-emphasizing it, then you can get these questions right. Okay, so on this one, same thing. If I put 2 over 10 right here in the calculator, I'm going to get negative 1 over 5. And the big thing with this is that 5 is on the bottom. And you can see all these have a negative and a 5 on the bottom, negative 5 on the bottom, negative. So unfortunately, that doesn't help. And like I said, this doesn't happen on the test. It will at least eliminate 1, usually 2, and sometimes 3. So we're actually going to have to look at this to see what we can do to find our answer. First off, if it's negative, we're going to flip it. So this W to the negative 5 is going to flip to the bottom and become W to the positive 5. The X to the negative 2 is going to flip to the top and become to the positive 2. And then we can flip these, but they're the same thing, and they're going to cancel each other out. And so you can flip them and make them Y to the positive 3s, but then you're going to end up subtracting them. 3 minus 3 is 0. If they're the same thing on top and bottom, they're going to cancel each other out. So I'm just going to get rid of it. So first off, if there's a Y, we can get rid of it. There shouldn't be any Y's. Okay, and then looking at what's left, I do have 2 X's on top. Both of these have 2 X's on top, so that doesn't help. And then on the bottom, we're going to add up all of our W's. So 2 W's plus 5 W's give me 7 W's, but where? On the bottom. And so 7 W's on top is not correct, and the answer would be H. All right. So scroll down here. Okay, so this is more like something that we'll see. And so we have our big number here, so we always take care of it first. If there's parentheses, you have to include the parentheses. Okay, now we're not going to worry about the letters or their exponents, but if there's an exponent on the outside of parentheses, it's stuck to that parentheses. So if you put the parentheses with the big number, then we have to include that exponent. Now we can type this in the calculator. So let's go to our calculator. And we're going to type in parentheses 81, and then we're going to hit our house top. And so we hit our house top right here because it's going to let us do an exponent. Then I need that exponent to be a fraction, so control divide. Some kids try to do fraction first, and that doesn't work because it puts the whole 81 over the fraction. So exponent first and then fraction. Then we can go 1 over 2, hit enter, and we get 9. So we know that our answer has to have a 9, and we can eliminate the 2 that have 40s. So this is more realistic of what the test looks like. So take care of the big number. Then, if you don't know what to do here, our most basic rule is always try to add up all the letters. But I've only got 8 A's and 18 B's, and so none of these are matching that. And I don't have anything else. So if you know the rule, that's great. The rule is that if we have an exponent on the outside, now this is almost like the distributive property, but it's not. So we're gonna, do mountaintops, and mountaintops mean to multiply. And so we're gonna do 1/2 times 8. So you go back to your calculator, 8 times 1/2, 8 times fraction 1 over 2, and we get 4. So we need 4 A's, and the answer would be C. Now, in the end, what we always say is that if you've eliminated 2 and you don't know how to do this, and C's an option, that we just always go with C. It doesn't guarantee anything, but if you think you know it, I mean, technically this half right here, you could also say half of 8 was 4. But in the end, like I said, if you've eliminated stuff and C's an option, I would personally go with C if you don't know what to do. All right, so this right here is not on the test, but we loved Cowboy Rides the Horse. I think it was on yesterday's assignment. And so you probably won't see it again after today. So Cowboy Rides the Horse. This right here only goes with the exponent only goes with the m. So this 8 does not go inside the radical. So it cannot be A or C. And so these right here have the 8 in the right spot. So the m goes underneath the radical. And then we got to decide where the 7 and the 3 go. So the 7 is the cowboy because the cowboy rides the horse. So cowboy's on top, horse is on the bottom. The cowboy can go inside the house, and the horse has to stay on the outside. So that's how we do that right there. If this was going to be on the test, we would do 1,000,000 of these because they're easy, if you practice it. So, but it's not on the test, so we just kind of do them a little bit. The other day we did a question like this where it wasn't yesterday, but maybe 2 days ago, where we talked about a square, and we talked about drawing the square, which we can still do here, draw the square. The difference was that last time they gave us the sides. Here, they're giving us the area of the square. So they're telling you the area is this right here, okay? So what they're saying is they multiplied the sides together and they got this. Okay, and so they're saying, what is, the side? What's the length of a side? And so this is the length of your sides. So how are we going to do this? Because they only give us one side. Well, here's why we draw the picture. If you draw the picture, then maybe you'll remember that squares are the same. Okay, all these sides are the same. So what you're going to do is you're going to make this become one of your sides. And I'm going to start with the big numbers. So I'm just going to put the big numbers on two sides. Now remember, when you're doing area, it's length times width, so you're just multiplying these. Okay. And you can substitute in all the different numbers and just multiply them. I'm just going to start with the big numbers. So I'm going to multiply the two sixes. I get 36. And look at that. That was what, the area was. If I put in the fours, 4 times 4 would be 16. 3 times 3 would be 9. 2 times 2 would be 4. And so obviously the answer is going to be A. Now, if there were more than one of these that said 6, then we would move to the M's. And the rule is that we add the little numbers, right? So we multiply the bigs, we add the little. So 6 plus 6 would be 12. And of course, that's how they got that right there. And 3 plus 3 would be 6. In the end, if you don't know it, then, and yes, you got to guess C, that's okay. All right. So if that's what you got to do, that's fine. Don't worry about it. These two are review, and so a couple of things with this, and I don't know that this will be on our test, but these are questions that we need to be good at, so it never hurts to review them. So first off, whenever we see y by itself, we know we can put it in the calculator. But look, y is not by itself. However, it's close. And whenever it's written like this, where x and y are on different sides, but you got a number right here, we have a little trick. We take this number and we move it to the end and we change the sign. So this plus 5 becomes a minus 5 and we get rid of it. Now this is y equals and we can plug it in the calculator. This becomes a minus 5, get rid of it. Now we can plug it into the calculator. This becomes a plus 5, and now we can plug it into the calculator, and that becomes a plus 3. All right, so now we're going to go and plug in. I'm just going to start with A. So y equals 2 parentheses x minus 3. So we're going to go to graphs here because it's y equals. So 2 parentheses x minus 3, close parentheses, and then we have this minus 5 at the back. Okay, hit enter. Menu 5-1. And so we're going to go back and look at this. Oh, hit the wrong thing right there. So we're going to go back and look at this. And oh, there was one other thing that I forgot. I didn't even look at it. I'm a bad test taker. So anytime they give you slope, remember, as long as x and y are on different sides, the slope is in front of x, even if there's parentheses. So the slope has to be 2. So I now know it's not B because that doesn't have a 2 in front of x. And I know it's not D because that doesn't have a 2 in front of x. It's got to be one of these two. All right, so we're looking for the 3 right here. So we're going to type in 3 and we're going to see if it gives us 5. So let's go back to our calculator and we're going to hit menu 5-1. And so I might have already hit that. I don't know. So we're going to type in 3, enter, and it was supposed to say 5. It does not say 5. It says -5. So this is not the answer. Okay. So chances are this is the answer, but I'm going to plug it in if it's a test. We're going to make sure. And so the only difference between these was they're exactly the same. So this said -5, this said +5. So I'm going to hit tab and go up, switch this to a +5. So delete, switch that to a plus, hit enter, menu 5-1. We're going to type in 3, hit enter, and notice it says 3 and 5. All right, so the answer would be C. Okay, so this one right here, same thing. This time y is by itself, so we're typing these in. We will type in the x's. And you got to test at least 2 of these, okay? We didn't test 2 of these because there wasn't 2 to test, okay? You had to do the slope and that. But when there's a whole bunch, you have to test at least 2. So we're going to type in 3, see if we get 19, type in 6, see if we get 31. So we're going to start with F. And so it was 6. So I'm going to clear all this out. All right. So we're going to go start a brand new graph. and it was 6x. I can't remember what it was after that, plus 1. So plus 1, hit enter, menu 5-1, and then we are typing in 3 and seeing if we get 19. So 3 and see if we get 19, and it works. A lot of kids at this point are choosing this as their answer, but you need to check this. So we're typing in 6 and see if we get 31, and we did not. So that's why we do that right there. They tricked us. All right, so the answer is not F. All right, so now we're going to type in, and you can go edit this. It's really a totally different problem. So I'm just going to start a brand new graph. So 5x plus 4. So I'm going to go start a brand new one. 5x plus 4. Hit enter, menu 5-1. We're testing 3 and 3 and 19. So once again, that looks good. So let's test, what was it, 6, I think? 6 was supposed to be 31. Nope, that's not it. So we know that it's not G. Now this is totally different. So I'm going to skip down to J because the only difference is I got to switch that to a -2. So I'm just going to switch this to a -2. So I'm going to hit tab, maybe hit tab and go up, and then just delete that and put -2. So that'll be pretty quick and painless. Menu 5-1. I already see 6 is 28. That's not right. We wanted it to be 31. So let me go see what this is. So this is 4x plus 7. So I'm just going to start all over because it is totally different. 4x plus 7. Enter, menu 5-1. We're typing in 3 and we should get 19, which we did. And then we're typing in 6 and we should get 31, which we did. So this is our answer right here. Okay, so the answer was H. All right. So, okay, these should be easy. We should love to see these. I can already tell you right off the bat it's not going to be B because there's no negatives in here, and that has a -5 right there. So we're going to go type this in and get our decimals. So square root of 50. All right, so this is done under regular calculator. So there's no letters. So obviously, you know, we've got to be here to do it. So you got to make sure you know how to type this in. So we're going to go control and x squared gives us this. There should only be one box. If there's 2 boxes, you hit the wrong one. So control x squared. We're going to type 50 and hit enter. And I get 7.0. I'm going to put 7.07. Now I'm going to type these in, and whichever one gives me 7.07 is my answer. So first, 5 square roots of 4. So 5, and then the square root of 4. Oh, what did I hit there? Oh, I hit the wrong thing. So it gave me a box right here. I'm going to pretend like I did that on purpose to show you what not to do. So control and x squared. There we go. And then we're putting 4 there. So we hit enter and we get 10. Well, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for 7.07. So let's try C, 5 square roots of 6. So 5 square roots of 6. Hit enter. Nope, that's 12.2. Now I'm still not going to just go say D is the answer on a test. I want to see it. So 5 square roots of 2. So it doesn't take long to do this. So 5 square roots of 2. And yes, those match. This is my answer. And the reason we do that is because what if you typed in something wrong? Okay. So what if A was the answer, but I typed it in wrong? Like I nearly did, actually. Okay, so this one right here, we got square root of 75. Once again, it's where did the negative come from? There's no negatives up there. All right, so we're going to go type these in real quick. So first, always start with the problem because that's what tells us what we're looking for. I'm just going to start a new one, just clean it up. So square root of 75. So you type in the actual problem and we're looking for 8.6. So 8.6. So now this is what I'm looking for. So that's why you got to do the problem. Now type these in, whichever one says 8.6, that's your answer. So, and I personally would not type them all in. The first one I see that gives me the answer, then that's what I'm choosing. But you can if you want. All right, so most of these should come out. Sorry, I'm talking, not paying attention. So 5 square roots of 7. So 5 square roots of 7. There should only be one answer, but it is possible for them to trick you and put more than one. If they ever put more than one answer, you want the number that's the biggest right here. So we have 13.2. So 13.2 is not right. So then we're going to do 5 square roots of 3. So 5 square roots of 3. And there it is right there. That matches. So 5 square roots of 3 is our answer. So the answer is going to be B. All right, so with this one right here, you know, first off, there's no big numbers here. And so, you know, that doesn't do me any good. When it says is equivalent to the yn, they're just saying, what are the exponents going to be? That's all that's saying right there. So for the y's, what's the exponent? So if you don't know what to do, there's no big numbers. If you don't know what to do, so our most basic rule, the one rule that I hope that you remember is that if you don't know what to do, I hope you at least add up all the letters. So in this case, we got 4 y's and negative 11 y's. So we're just going to add them up, and I would use your calculator. So 4 plus negative 11. So we go to the calculator, 4 plus minus 11. Hit enter, and we get negative 7. So what is the exponent going to be right here? Negative 7. So it's negative 7. Remember that the number has to start in the second box. The first box is only for positives or negatives, okay? And I normally don't put a positive. I just leave this blank and then start my number right here. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Okay, gosh, this just looks crazy, doesn't it? And look at all this. I mean, most of us, I'm assuming if you saw this, you're just gonna be like, ah! So we are only gonna focus in on the big numbers, and this negative is considered a big number right here, okay? So the negative, you could put it with the 17, you could just leave it on the outside. I'm just gonna put it with 17. Now there's no parentheses here, so I don't have to put parentheses. However, I can't just put 14. There's a time sign right there. So we gotta put times 14. And then on the bottom, we've got 19. So all I'm going to do is take all my big numbers. You have to include the fraction bar. You had to include that negative right there because that's a big negative. And then we're going to go type this into our calculator. So just to clean it up, start all over. So we got control divide. We got minus 17 times 14. And you got to put that dot there, that times right there. It matters. And then over 19, hit enter. And we get this negative 238 over 19. All right, so let's go see. Negative 238 over 19. This means the negative 238 is on top and the 19 is on the bottom. Okay. All right, so first off, yeah, that's not right. Okay. This right here, negative 238 over 19, that's right. This one's not right. This one has the negative, but not 238 over 19. So the answer is just B. And so you'll see that, okay? I mean, this looks so hard, okay? But we took care of our big numbers, and it's either going to give you the answer or you're going to be able to narrow it down to 2, okay? And so that's what we want to do. We want to make sure we take care of those. Okay, once again, we got another crazy one right here. So let's take care of the big numbers. Now, this time we got parentheses. So 24 is in parentheses. Now, anytime you have parentheses, you look, is there an exponent right here? No, so we're good. We got another big number. It's in parentheses. Because it's in parentheses, is there an exponent right there? Yes, you have to keep that exponent. And then we got 54 on the bottom in parentheses. Is there an exponent right there? No. This is what we're typing into our calculator. Now, this exponent right here, that's a fraction, that can be a little tough, so make sure you watch how to do this. So we're going to go control divide, parentheses 24. So as I'm typing this in, I'm keeping the parentheses. Parentheses 16, close parentheses. Now, to get this fraction exponent, you have to do the exponent first, not the fraction. Then do control divide for your fraction, and we can type in 3 over 2. Then on the bottom, we got parentheses 54, close parentheses. Your calculator will do all of this. Let the calculator do it. 256 over 9. 256 should be on top, 9 should be on the bottom. So we look at this. Okay, so on this one, unfortunately, so it's not this one and it's not this one. There's still 2 options. So at this point, this is going to get really tough. And so, obviously, if C's an option, I personally am going with C. You might even sit there and look at this and go, well, look at all these X's. So maybe you're going with the one that has the bigger number of X's. I could live with that too, even if D had the bigger number of X's. I know C does now. But if you look at it and you're like, oh, I really feel like that there's going to be more X's. Okay, I understand that. That's a strategy. Now, if you really want to know what to do, then I will tell you the other thing that we've always done is we've always added up the X's. And so you could just add up the X's, get 16 X's right there. Now, the ones on the bottom, we would subtract, okay? And so, you might do 16 minus 9 and get 7 and think, oh, okay, it's this one. And if you do that, you do that. I'm okay with that. If you can pick either C or D, I'm going to give you credit because you took care of the big numbers, okay? So how would you actually do this? So anytime there's an exponent on the outside, we got to multiply it in, kind of like the distributed property, even though it's not. So we're going to put our mountaintops here. Now, I'm only going to work on the X's, okay? So I'm only going to focus in on the X's. So I'm going to do 8 times 3 over 2. So I'm going to go to my calculator and do 8 times 3 over 2. So 8 times fraction 3 over 2. I'm going to let the calculator do with this. We get 12. So when I do this right here, I now have 12 X's. So now we can add up all of our X's. So 8 X's plus 12 X's give me 20 X's now on top, okay? Then anytime we got X's on top and X's on the bottom, then we're going to subtract them, okay? When one's on top, one's on the bottom, they're going to cancel each other out. So we subtract them. 20 minus 9 is 11. And the answer always goes where the bigger number's at. 20 is the bigger number. So we got 11 X's on top. And so that would be this right here, 11 X's. So in the end, like I said, if you can take care of the big number, I'm going to be pretty happy because at least you're giving yourself a shot. And like I said, I'll personally count it right, even though it will be wrong. If you pick D, even though it will be wrong, when I give you your grade, I'm going to count that right because you took care of the big numbers. And then, like I said, if you can figure out, actually how to do this, that's awesome. All right. So got just a few left. So 13 is next, even though that's a little bit higher. So what I tell kids on this is there's no big numbers. This has fractions in it. I mean, negatives. This is kind of complicated. I would be okay with you guessing C on this one. I really would. So what are we going to do if we actually want to try to get this? Well, I personally, looking that X has a half here, I would take care of the Y's. So remember that if there's a number on the outside right here, that we got to multiply it in. Now, there's not a number with this Y right here, so there's an understood 1. So 2 times 1 would be 2, right? So there's 2 Y's right here. Plus, we got another Y right there. So I have 3 Y's. So if there's not 3 Y's, we can mark it off. Oh, that stinks. You only mark off 1. So usually you would hope for a friendlier test that, at least there would be 2 of them that would only have it. But that one has 3 Y's as well. All right, so we actually have to work out the X's. So first off, we have 1/2 times 2. So 1/2 times 2. So we're going to go to our calculator, control divide, 1/2 times 2. Enter, and we get 1. So when we do our mountaintops right there, we get just 1x. Well, now we can add this. Now I know it's a negative, so we throw it in the calculator. 1 plus -4. So 1 plus -4, enter, and we get -3. So we've got -3 X's, but you're not allowed to keep the negative. Now, if nothing else, take a look at your answers. Like there's only 1 X on here that even has a 3. And the reason that 3 is positive is because it flipped to the bottom and became positive. But this has a fraction right there, so that's definitely not here. This only has 2, so that's not. It should have at least 3, but like I said, the reason it's positive is it flipped to the bottom. So the answer is A. Guys, that's tough. So if you don't understand how to do that, guess C and move on with your life. All right, do not sit and stress over that. There are no big numbers. There's no easy, like just add up all the X's. So if you struggle with that, guess C and move on. I don't believe that there's something like this on the test, but in case there is, we need to talk about it. First off, we always take care of the big number. And so the big number is just 5. The 5 should be on top. I mean, there's nothing going on with this 5 right here. So 5 should be on top. It's not that one. 5 is on the top, but it's negative. Where'd that negative come from? You know, there's no big negative. You can't say this is a exponent negative, so that doesn't affect our big number right there. So no, but both of these are good right here. So then the answer to this is, you can't have a negative exponent, so we flip it to the bottom, and when we flip it to the bottom, it becomes positive. They flipped this to the bottom, but they left it negative, so that's not the answer C. Oh, like I said, I'm not even sure that that'll be on the test. If it is and you're not sure how to do it, then guess C. You should be able to take care of the 5. You should at least know that it's B or C. All right, so this last one right here. Once again, it looks crazy, but we got big numbers, so let's take care of them. You've got to keep this negative right here. So this is negative 25. And then we've got times 6 right here, and then 27 on the bottom. So we're just going to go plug that into our calculator. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. So we're going to go control divide. So negative 25 times 6, and on the bottom 27. So if you can do that right there, we get negative 50 over 9. And look at that. There is only one answer right here that has negative 50 over 9. None of these have negative 50 over 9. And the answer is A. So kind of a short paper today. I hope you know how to take care of these big numbers. If you know how to do that and you know how to plug in, so the other thing we really need to know how to do is you know how to plug these into the calculator. I think you'll be fine on this test. I'm going to be really friendly grading it. So if nothing else, I think this is a chance for you to make an A or a B on this test. If you're taking care of those big numbers, I really think that there's a good chance you can make an A or B on this test. So, all right. Well, hopefully you'll be ready for the test tomorrow.